couple of weeks ago I found this rather interesting box in a charity shop. The label on the top says Minerva stencils with pen and instructions, also lettering stylus. If I open the box, we'll see we have indeed got an instruction leaflet with some stencil information on the other side, a box which I'll come to in a minute, a couple of metal plates with a protrusion at the bottom, and that's to hold a stencil, and it holds it away from the paper so ink doesn't bleed underneath. Put those to one side. And lettering stencils, we have a small size and a much larger size. They probably aren't that obvious on the screen, but they are sort of a yellowy transparent layer, and they've got these rather odd holes cut out of them. And those stencils are used to create lettering, as well as that pen. If I put that box aside for a minute, we can look at this smaller box, and inside is a Minerva patent fountain drawing pen. It's rather long, it's got a rather pointy end there, and it's got a push button at the other end, and if I push the button it pokes a rod out of the front. There's also a couple of rather large objects. Now, I originally thought this was for filling the pen, but in fact these are very large nibs. They fit on the end of the pen like that and give you lettering up to, what's that, about 5mm thick. That's a really thick line. As well as that, a wooden block with some much smaller nibs in them. They're quite, no, they're not going to sharp very easily on here, but there's very, very thin, up to 2 or 3mm. And a rather nice wire cleaning brush. Now, to fill this pen, you have to unscrew the barrel at this end, and then with the pipette put India ink into the barrel of the pen, and it will run down the nib and sort of stay put at the end until you draw with it. Now, I'm going to have a go at drawing with the stencils in a couple of minutes, but first I'll fill the pen, and as I've not done that before and it's likely to get messy, I think I'll be doing that off camera. Okay, now this has already gone wrong once, so I'll give it one more go. I need to hold the pen absolutely bolt upright. It gets a bit messy, and I need to press the button down, of course, to release some ink. Try again, and it's going to get ugly fairly quickly, but that is a fairly reasonable letter S. I want to write something, so I need the lowercase stencil, which is this one. I have to be very careful not to get the stencil in contact with what's there already. Make sure that the nib's fairly dry. Just do an O, and that's not the O, that's something completely different. So this is the O. Actually, I want to write an A. I can probably go as you can see, this is quite messy. I have instructions which tell me which stencil bits to use for which letter. So if I can get that into the D, this also gives me an L. So let's try and make a Y. So if I put that about there like that and draw a line down like that, so for a little bit of guidance, then sadly, and let's just figure out how to make a W. W is obviously 2 V's. 1. And to make an E, it's this shape again. I start there, go round like that. I'll have to draw the line in by hand. Watch my poor quality drawing skills. Whoops, there we go. Not too bad. To make a lowercase t, I need this character again. Oops, that's a bit too close. And I can draw a line across that. So that is how lettering is done with the Minerva stencil and a very, very, very old pen. And what I would like to do is to try one of these really, really big fat nibs. So I'm going to put one of those, take the small nib off, which is now obviously filthy with ink. Put that on like that. Tip it upside down, give it a bit of a... It will need refilling, 1 minute. And I have clearly forgotten how much of a mess you can get into within your ink. Well done me. So, this is the really, really fat nib. And I have to hold it again, absolutely bolt upright, and I will get a really lovely thick black line. I'll just draw some weird things. You have to draw fairly slowly and let it slip over the paper. You can't drag it like you would say a normal pen, but it's not working too badly. Oops. Obviously need to press the button quite a lot with this fat nib because it's chucking out so much ink. And that is the Minerva patent fountain drawing pen and stencils. And because it's India ink, I now have to go away and wash everything because I've got it almost everywhere. Anyway, hopefully this has been informative enough for people who asked to see a demonstration. Okay, I have no idea how this is going to work. I've never used these before, and I have not tried using the pen either, and it looks like it's a bit leaky. So, bit of tissue just to keep it fairly dry. Let's try and write something. Now I have to put this stencil on the straight edge, hold it absolutely bolt upright, and we get a big splodge. Wow, that's good going. Okay, lift it up. And I have a letter S. O. I was going to try to write some. Ah! No! No, I've made a right big deal of it already.